Hello everyone and welcome back to another Pony&Wolf Productions video. My name is Visual Pony and today we are reading the story Cadence Tells Twily, a heartwarming bedtime story by superpony55. Now from what I see, this story is a little bit older, from 2013, the year I actually joined the Brony fandom and started reading stories on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know why they still haven't made that day when I finally started reading stories a worldwide holiday. But, well, you know how it is. So, as always, there's this amazing list with those amazing people who keep donating to this channel and keep us alive and able to eat. That is our food budget, guys, and if you want to contribute to it and keep us eating, then, you can check our Patreon out, which gives you exclusive download links to all of our stuff, and there's also a merch store down below where you can get amazing stuff. Two ponies curled up together.
May I hear a story, Katie?
A purple filly asked. Of course, Twily, the pink mare told her. Twily giggled and snuggled closer to Cadence. What do you want to hear?
The story of Santa Hoofs,
Twily said promptly. Santa Hoofs? Well, he's coming tonight. Twily giggled.
I do!
And he sneaks down the chimney while his magical reindeer wait on the roof. Cadence continued.
What are reindeer?
Twily asked. They're animals that are very much like us, but they live with Santa Hoofs up north, Katie explained.
Cool!
Tonight, Santa will sneak down the chimney to see all the good fillies and colts and give them presents.
Will I get that book I've been wanting?
Twily asked. Eyes wide. Cadence laughed.
Maybe. I hope he comes.
Twily cried. I'm sure he will. Cadence pretended to glare at Twilight. Why, have you not been good this year? She started tickling Twily.
I have!
Twily giggled. Good, so Santa will give you a candy cane, a miniature version of the North Pole. It's very yummy. Twilight's belly rumbled.
Just thinking about it makes me hungry,
Twily complained. They both giggled. One day, Santa Hoofs was busy helping his flutter pony friends make toys for all the folds of the world. Cadence began the story.
And books, right?
Twily asked. Cadence laughed.
Yes, Twily, and books.
Good! She cried, relieved. The flutter ponies were working so hard that year. Santa Hoofs watched them make the toys, wrap them, and add them to a pile so Santa could sign them. Everything was going really well, Cadence told her.
Then what happened?
Twily asked, knowing something would go wrong. That's what usually happened in stories. The floor started cracking. All the toys fell through the cracks. What do we do? Santa Hoofs moaned. Hearthwarming is only a week away. Every pony started panicking.
Then a brave little flutter pony flew through the hole to find the gift. She swooped down and saw a giant empire. The Crystal Empire. It wasn't a hole in the floor, it was a portal.
Twily piped in. She remembered reading about the empire in one of her favorite books. Cadence flinched, but Twily didn't notice. Yes, Cadence finally said. It was a portal. The brave little flutter pony raced up through the portal to tell Santa Hoofs.
Santa Hoofs nodded and sent the flutter pony team to gather the gift before any pony found them, or worse, they didn't have enough time to get ready for hearthwarming.
Twilight added.
Of course, the brave flutter pony who found the portal was leading the team. Her name was Snow Crystal.
Snow Crystal led the team through the portal. They ate their changeling crystals, which would help them camouflage and blend in with the crowd for 2 hours. After that, if they didn't change back using the other crystals, they were stuck in that form. Cadence continued.
Snow Crystal looked into her guide to the Crystal Empire book and decided to start on Amethyst Avenue. The team searched and searched but only found 2 presents before lunchtime.
Twilight cried.
They finally had to stop and rest. Meanwhile, a pink mare and a purple foal had found one of the boxes. F! Twily squealed, rolling over. She started jumping on the bed. Stop jumping on the bed, Twy. Yes, us. The pink mare picked up the box. What's that? The filly asked. I don't know, the mare responded. Twily ripped it from Cadence's grasp and opened it. Cadence said, Twily gasped. It's the book I've been wanting, she cried. This will help me on my entrance exam to the princess's school. She squealed. Yes, 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 yes. Cadence smiled. Wow, Twilight, congratulations, Cadence told her. Twily grinned. Neither of them could stop smiling. This is the best week with a heartwarming ever, she said excitedly. Twilight continued the story. Meanwhile, the flutter ponies were looking everywhere, Cadence exclaimed. They were so worried. Heartwarming will be ruined, Snow cried. There's only one present left to find, but it's for some pony who really needs it. Twilight and Cadence saw this. Twily sheepishly brought the gift over. Is this what you were looking for? She asked. Snow Crystal's eyes lit up. You found it, she cried. Twily looked ready to cry. She'd been really hoping to get that book, but she knew they needed it more than she did. She handed it to them. Here it is, she said, handing it over to Snow. Twilight started bouncing again. Stop bouncing, Twy, Cadence said again. Snow looked at her checklist. Is your name Twilight Sparkle? She asked. Yes, Twily said a bit shyly. Snow Crystal handed the box back to her. Then this is yours. Looks like she wanted to give Snow Crystal a big hug. Thank you, she cried. Snow smiled. You're welcome. She and the other flutter ponies waved goodbye and flew back up through the portal. Twilight and Katie watched. Happy heartwarming, Twily whispered. Twilight said as she sat down. Once they were back up, Snow took the second crystal. She told Centerhoofs everything. Center smiled when he heard what Twily had done. That's the heartwarming spirit, he cried. When Heartwarming Eve came, Twily found a note on her note. It was only 2 words, but it meant so much. Thank you. Cadence concluded the story. Twilight clapped. Yay! That was a good story! She cried. Cadence smiled down at her. You know, that was a very nice thing you did, she told her. What? I didn't do anything, Twily said, puzzled. Not in real life, but you let your story self give back what you wanted most, Cadence explained. That takes true heart, love, friendship, and kindness. Friendship? Twily asked. You and Tiny are my only friends. Cadence laughed and shook her head. Good night, Twily. She kissed her forehead, tucked her in, and turned out the light. As soon as Cadence was gone, Twily moved the milk and cookies closer to her bed and wrote down a note. Thank you. She sat there, wide awake, until she finally drifted off to sleep, Smarty Pants in her arms. Outside, the sweet sound of jingle bells could be heard. Ring, 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 jingle, 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 jingle. Santa smiled as he crept into Twilight's room.
No, thank you.
As he crunched on the cookies, he thought he saw the hint of a smile on her face. He did.
This time, I make the comments because Luna is a big old meanie. I'll get my revenge when I have taken over the world. And that is where I need your help. Go ahead. Like and subscribe. Also share this video with your friends and family. And don't forget to check out my Sloth at Humans Patreon and merch store. Building an evil empire is expensive. I must admit that this story is kind of sweet, but, of course, I am way too cool to want bedtime stories. As future overlord of the planet, and after that the entire universe, I will decree that people tell me stories in the evening as tribute. Ha! Much cooler than a bedtime story. A tribute to the overlord. Now let me be, I have your demise to plan. Mul ha 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 ha.